G'day viewers, how you going out there? Hope you're well. Just thought I'd come on with some fairly random thoughts, I suppose, but I sort of, I see things over a period of time, and these things kind of start to press on my mind, and I think at some point, I should really share the information that I'm getting, or at least the perceptions that I'm getting of things that are happening in the world around me. I feel as though I do have a slightly different perspective than perhaps a lot of other people. Being a Christian, for example, is one thing, being a fairly devout Christian is another. Um, Having some hits in terms of prophetic things that have happened recently. I'm talking specifically about, the earthquakes that have happened in Chile and New York. I actually posted YouTube videos within maybe 12 months or so when I was talking about the big one. I thought, visions that I saw were definitely of an earthquake. Specifically, the location of it, well, that's hard to tell. I'm not an expert on buildings, or it's hard to identify from a vision specifically the location of an earthquake. One city these days looks like another. A city in Turkey can look like a city in LA. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know the difference. When I see it in a vision, I see buildings coming down, I see people inside. It's an earthquake, whether it happens in Turkey or Los Angeles or New York or wherever. It's hard to tell from a vision, but what I knew was there was going to be a big earthquake, and it was going to happen soon, and sure enough, a massive one in Turkey. So there is truth and power in prophecy. Believe me, these things do come true. I had a vision about blizzards and snowstorms, and that came true recently. In the US, they had uh, massive blizzards and snowstorms. So God does reveal the truth to people through visions, dreams, and if you're a Christian and you're in touch, in tune with God's Spirit, you will see these things, you will perceive them. They will come to you in dreams and visions. They won't be exactly clear, you won't be able to exactly interpret it, but it's meant to edify. The point of prophecy, from my understanding of what the Bible is telling us, that it's edifying to the church. So when somebody has a prophecy and it comes true, then that is just a confirmation of the fact that God is at work in His people, in His church, and He does reveal Himself to us through His Spirit, and He has a plan, and things are unfolding according to a plan. That's kind of where all this stuff goes in terms of prophecy, prophetic vision, and that sort of stuff. So having said that, I just wanted to share a couple of other observations I've had, and I don't know, leave it up to you to interpret or understand for yourself what is going on in the world at the moment. One of the things I'll say I've observed, which is a bit of an odd behaviour, because I'm a student of psychology, and I observe human behaviours, and I make a note of what people do and what I see and what is usual and what is unusual. And when I see something unusual, it stands out to me. So I've seen things that are unusual, and I've made a note of them in, like a mental note of things. As my sales manager used to say, make a mental note on a piece of paper. But yeah, I've made mental notes of these things, and occasionally I decide to share them. One of them is the idea of, I guess you could call it, angel radio. Yeah, there's no other way to explain this, but I've seen people that will hold fingers to the side of their head. It's kind of strange kind of gesture they do. I can't exactly do how they do it, but they'll have their fingers to their head like this in some sort of strange gesture. And what I've noticed about them is that their face will illuminate. That's the oddest thing about it. But it's like they've got their hand against their face like that. Their face illuminates, almost as like there's a light behind it, like an electric light glowing behind their face, illuminating their face while they're doing this. And they're talking, they're normally talking to somebody as though they're communicating somehow, but not on a normal level, probably on a spiritual level. And just from, I don't know, a lot of it actually surprisingly can come through, um, media that you've seen. I mean, a lot of the information you can actually get on some supernatural phenomena, sometimes you'll see it kind of revealed or expressed in, TV shows or movies that you've seen. And you might think, well, that's all the fantasy land. But there's always some truth behind any mythology that's out there. There's always a hidden truth behind it. And as I say, I'm just an observer. I observe things and I make a note of them. And if they're unusual, then it catches my eye. So when I see people doing that, and I see that their face is brightly illuminated, to me that rings a bell. That's a flag to me. Something supernatural is going on. And the kind of lore, the mythology that's out there says angel radio. These people are angels, and they're communicating on some sort of angelic channel. That could be either a good angelic channel or a demonic angelic channel. So there could be either of those forms of communication, but I've certainly seen that. I've observed that. And I've observed that from individuals that I've also observed other phenomenon around them that suggests they might be angelic in nature, or possessed of an angelic spirit. And I've sort of thought about this idea and prayed about it to God, actually. I thought, okay, I know that a Christian actually has the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit indwells a Christian. Anyone who accepts Christ into their life is baptized, invites the Holy Spirit into their life. So the Christian has the Spirit of God, indwells within their physical body, the Holy Spirit. So that's kind of their spiritual rebirth. But I believe there are people out there that don't go as far as that. Perhaps they don't have the faith, they don't have the understanding, the knowledge to understand the gospel message. They haven't heard the gospel message, or they've heard it and they didn't fully accept it. But they come sort of halfway in another way. They end up, they're very motivated towards a moral, ethical lifestyle. And for whatever reason, they are by nature kind of angelic people. They're people that are just such good people by nature that they are like angelic spirits, or at least they invite angelic spirits into their lives. And I think it's possible that someone who's not a Christian may be an angelic host, or may become angelic hosts. In other words, the spirit of angels dwells within them, in the same sense that we know that people can become demonic hosts of demonic spirits. We know that from accounts in the Bible, that there are people that were possessed by demons. Mary Magdalene, it is said that Jesus cast out demons from her. There's also an incident in the Bible where Jesus encounters a man who calls himself Legion, because there were many demons within him, not one but a legion of them. And the demonic possessed person says, call me Legion, for we are many. And Jesus proceeds to cast those demons out of that person into the herd of pigs that rushes over a cliff top and dies. So we know from first-hand accounts of the Bible that demonic possession is possible. And also we know from first accounts of the Bible that there are angelic people that appear in the Bible, whether they're actual angels in a spiritual form or a spiritual manifestation, or they are angelic hosts. So human beings that are actually inhabited, possessed in a way. Perhaps possession is the wrong word. in the same sense that a Christian has the Holy Spirit dwelling within them, and they are in accordance, their actions and behaviour are in accordance or in step with the Spirit. I believe there are probably some people out there that don't have the Holy Spirit, but what they become, or what they can become, is angelic hosts. So they become in step with angelic spirits. And these angelic spirits can inhabit them. The spiritual angel form can inhabit a human form, because the person is so in step with the intentions of the angels, or an angel, that they become a host of that angel. I believe that is possible. That they are not consciously aware of that. That sort of like the two personalities are so sort of in accordance with each other, in step with each other, they become one. What happens to an angelic host after they die, I don't know. I don't think they end up necessarily going to heaven in the same way. I would speculate and say that an angelic host may or may not end up with an afterlife. I think probably best case scenario for an angelic host is that their essence or their personality lives on in the essence and the personality of the angel that they hosted, that their body perishes, but that their essence or their soul, in fact, becomes a part of the essence of the angelic spiritual presence. I'm speculating, but that's what it seems to me is happening in the world. There are some people that are not Christians, they are not, they don't have the Holy Spirit, but they can be angelic hosts. It's a different different path, a different life, but it's one that some people may choose. So there it is. So the other thing that I've seen, which is of a supernatural nature, outside of angel radio, is sort of like a masking, of people's physical appearance or facial appearance, using it's a supernatural way of doing it, obviously, but they're masquerading by using technology these days. So because so many people are walking around with mobile phones and tablets and things like that in their faces, which is what I'm doing right at this moment. I've got a mobile phone pointing in at my face. I'm holding it in front of my face, and there's a certain amount of illumination that comes from the screen which will illuminate my face. What I'm seeing is the use of that to masquerade a person's appearance. So in other words, it's very easy. I mean, it's like spy technology. It's like you hold a mobile phone type device in front of your face, and it projects another face onto mine. So just imagine, like a projector, basically. So I'm holding my mobile phone device. I've got it switched on to some application, and it projects Donald Trump's face over mine. So that when somebody who's looking at me from the other side of the room, they look at me, I'm holding this phone, my face is kind of illuminated a little bit by the light of the mobile phone device, but they think that's just the light from the mobile phone that's illuminating my face, giving it a luminous kind of quality. But they look at my face and it looks like Donald Trump, because it's a projection, it's a projector projecting onto my face. So I've seen that. I've seen people, and I could swear that's what they're doing. They're holding a camera, they're holding a phone in front of their face is illuminated, but what I see is not their face. It's a projection. It's a projection of something from the device they're holding, which masks their actual appearance. like a demonic projector. So like a person has a demonic face, but they're hiding their true appearance by projecting a human face onto it. So when I look at them, their face is glowing, it's illuminated, and I can say, oh, okay, yeah, that's because they're holding a mobile phone in front of their face, and it's the light from the phone that makes their face glow and illuminate. But in fact, it's actually a projected mask that's covering what their real face looks like. Because they know spiritually I can see through their physical appearance into the spiritual appearance of the person, and I know what they really look like, but they have to mask it. So they project an image onto their faces. So there we have it. There's a bit of food for thought for you. A couple of my observations. I know it's, to a lot of people, it's far-fetched, fanciful, weird stuff, whatever, but I tell it as it is. Take it or leave it. Call me Fox Mulder, whatever. There's other truths out there. Or think of Shakespeare, who said, there are more things of heaven and earth than you have dreamed of in your philosophy, Horatio. I'll leave you with that thought.